Envirotech Air Quality Services. Their qualified technicians are experts in the air conditioning and heating field. They make sure to stay up to date with the latest technology and methods so that they can provide their Palm Beach area customers with superior HVAC services. Their technicians are trained by well-known manufacturers and suppliers in the industry, such as Trane and Johnstone Supply. Envirotech Air Quality Services serves over 500 residential and commercial customers, many of whom are long-term clients. A large portion of their business comes from customer referrals, and they are the preferred AC vendor to two of the largest polo clubs in the region. They value each and every customer and tailor their services and recommendations to their needs and financial situations. Thane Brunsvold, the president of Envirotech Air Quality Services, oversees each project with his hands-on approach on each job. Ask about their free 12-month residential service contract. Contact Envirotech Air Quality Services today at 561-327-4486.
You are listening to the Ask the Experts show with host Steve-O. We will be right back with more experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Join us every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Now, get ready for more Ask the Experts.
And we are back with Thane from Envirotech. He is our resident expert on air quality services, and he actually travels quite a bit around Florida here, or around the local area.
Yeah.
I think from west to east over here. I mean, it's kind of difficult navigating that traffic, right? I think last time you had a problem, right? You got stuck.
Yes. We are in an area where we have lots of different weather conditions, although not snow or rain.
Right.
Snow or
But those
school
flooded
times.
areas can really get you sometime, right? What are you really doing, Thane? Tell us. Come on.
Off air.
Okay, off air. All right, so we're going to talk about filters tonight, right? Air conditioning filters. Mm-hmm. And I think it's an important topic because if you are a parent who has a child or yourself who has asthma or allergies and you don't change it very frequently, then you're kind of, not a great parent, I guess, right?
Well, it's so funny you say that because being in the business, I come last.
Yeah, you don't even change your own filters. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I should be better. But, there's great strategies as far as changing that. We tell people, you pay your FP&L bill, change your filter.
Yeah.
Write the date on the edge of the filter so when you change it, and have extras around always.
Yeah.
A lot of times people, it's so weird because manufacturers just don't, you would think it would be like, okay, a standard size. It's just not. And
it's not a one-size-fits-all.
It's not. And so oftentimes there are odd sizes you can't even get at Home Depot or Walmart. So, we can help.
You have to special order them?
Yeah, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
And not only that, filter prices have gotten really outrageous. And we're able to get prices at wholesale costs and get it to our customers at a price that is even below Walmart oftentimes. So,
that's really great.
Plan ahead.
Yeah. Well, what type of filters do you recommend?
So,
I know it's, of course, like you said, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but is there anything you would recommend that you really like, a brand or a...
There's not a brand, but what you really want to do is there's a rating system out there called MERV. And basically what that does is it tells you how small of the particle it will filter to, right? An 8 MERV rating is about right. 10, you go higher, it gets a little bit, it's filtering everything, but it can really tax your motors.
Yeah.
And then the other thing about a filter is if you don't change it, the one thing is the dirtier it gets, the better it filters.
What do you mean it's a good filter if the dirtier it gets?
Well, it's just because what happens is it gets dirtier, so it's harder for stuff to pass through it.
Oh, okay.
It's not what I would recommend.
So I'm actually doing a good thing by not changing my filter. Get it dirty. Saves time, too.
That's not really what I'm saying, but we're on the same page.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. Say you're a person like me and others out there who aren't so handy and don't even know how to change the filter. Can you give some tips on folks on where you go to look for it and how you change it? Is it pretty idiot-proof?
Well, it's interesting because newer code calls for returns in every bedroom. Older code, it used to be underneath the door would be okay as far as the return air goes. So you typically in older homes have one return filter typically. New homes, I mean, my last house that I had with my ex-wife, we had like 12 filters. There each room and blah, blah, blah.
Allergy-free home.
Yeah, it gets to be a little bit of an overkill, but I mean, the bottom line is whoever you're using for your service, have them measure. Make sure they're tight-fitting filters wherever they go, whether it's in the ceiling or it's underneath the unit. And then you really want to use, just a good pleated MERV 8 rated type filter. You don't really want to use those horsehair filters. If you're in that situation, and it's so common.
That make horsehair filters?
Yeah, it's just it's kind of the everyman's filter where you can cut it to size, and we see it so often, but it really doesn't filter very well. And but it's those people that can't seem to find the right size filter because again, the manufacturers are not thinking that way, and so. And even, it comes down to the grill sizes on walls or whatever, but the best thing to do is to just get a good MERV rated 8 filter, have your, whoever it is that's coming out to your house, measure, get you a tight filter, and then they can either pick it up for you or you could even, seriously, Home Depot, they'll custom order for them for you if you just tell them, but you have to buy 12.
So are you kind of recommending also every time that someone come out and change the filter?
Well, when we do our precision tune-ups, we always change the filter. And we always talk to them about the filter. We are Envirotech Air Quality Services. So, one thing that all of my techs know is that, we're not just an AC company coming out to fix things. We really want to improve your air quality.
Yeah. It brings up a point. You ever been in someone's home, which I'm sure you have because you're in a lot of homes. It's an older home, and it just smells. And it smells like mildew. And it's like, what do you recommend to get that smell out?
So, not only are we an air conditioning company, but I'm also licensed in mold. And we do mold removal as well as mold assessment. Whenever you have a smell like that, it could be a number of things.
Be a leak.
Typically, it's typically high humidity or some kind of a leak where you have the situation where mold or mildew will grow and it does have a smell. The whole thing about mold is it kicks off mycotoxins. Mycotoxins are really what causes people not to feel good, but it also has a smell.
Okay.
So the most important thing with your air conditioner is if it's running properly, you really want your humidity to be below 60%.
Below 60, okay.
Below
that keeps
60,
the mildew down?
Mold will not grow above 60%. So, you're going to always, don't get me wrong, in your shower, you may see, that isn't, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
That's not something that you need to be, it's going to make me sick. Mold will grow because this shower's wet.
And we're in Florida.
Yeah. But as far as humidity goes in the home, and that's what your air conditioner does, it really removes humidity in the home. It cools, but it removes humidity. So, a lot of people here in South Florida, especially the people that live in the buildings, they have humidistats. And a humidistat is great.
So that's a new thing?
No.
Oh,
actually, I have one in my house. I just removed it. I'm doing a big remodel. I really don't like them myself, but the benefit to humidistat is when you leave your home, if you're a snowbird, what you do is you set your humidistat at, say, 55, and so often I see humidistat set at 65%.
Okay.
Mold will grow at 65.
Yeah.
Set your humidistat at 55, turn your temperature, your set point on your air conditioner up at 90.
Okay.
And what'll happen is it's going to run your home not on comfort because you're not there.
Yeah.
Humidity.
Oh, that's great.
And so
that's a money
you
saver.
Save money, exactly. And you're not going to run into a situation where you're going to come back and have mold. We have so many customers that come back at the end of the season, new customers. They come back in November and, I've got mold growing on my shoes. I've got mold growing on, a number of things that mold likes to grow on. And it's only because not they had a water intrusion, it's because the humidity was too high.
Oh.
So a humidistat works that way.
Pretty handy.
They are.
What about if you do want to improve the overall air quality in your home? What kind of systems do you have? Do you have anything that'll help?
Well, again, the first thing is a nice, tight fitting filter
Yeah.
that you're changing on a consistent basis.
MERV 8, I think you said.
MERV 8, yeah, MERV 8 or higher, but MERV 8 is really just a good basic filter.
Yeah.
There are multiple products that the manufacturers provide that you can add on. Also, there are things like UV lights, and
Oh,
UV
that's
lights will kill bacteria and molds that the light actually touches as the air goes through it. It'll kill it.
Where do you install these? Are they just in your regular lighting system, the UV lights?
Yeah, so we have specials where when we're out, we'll install it, at a really low price. We're pretty reasonable on our
Yeah.
UV lights, but they go in your air handler typically.
Oh, okay.
And so you install them in your air handler because number one, it will kill, again, UV lights only work where the light hits.
Yeah.
So if you have a mold problem above your air handler, it's not going to help. But
So it's only within the air handler. And
the
remind
light
folks what that
has
is.
to hit it.
Remind folks about the air handler again.
So the air handler is the inside unit where the Freon gets pumped in, and when it gets to the coils inside, so you have outside the condenser, that's the motor, pumps the Freon in. Inside is the air handler. In there's a device that flashes it to gas from liquid, and that makes your coils inside very cold. That's
So it's
the
where
air.
the
It's
gas
where the
conversion
actual
happens?
heat transfer happens.
Okay.
So that warm air in the house goes over these cold airs and cold coils, and then believe it or not, it transfers back in the gas out to the condenser outside. If you go outside on top of the condenser, if you fill the top of it, if it's
Yeah.
working properly, it should always be warm.
Okay.
That's the heat from your house.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you oh my gosh, it doesn't feel like the AC is cooling. If you go out to your house and you
It
just
should
put
be
your
hot.
hand, it should be hot. If it's not, guess what? You have a problem.
Yeah. I should call you.
You should call us.
And
Absolutely.
you said the UV lights are within the air handler.
So they're inside the air handler, exactly. And so it's where the air, you have the filter somewhere, then the air is going to go into your air handler over those coils, pass through the coils, and then now get distributed throughout the house in your duct system.
pretty, yeah.
That's where you put that UV light, is in that air handler.
Is that pretty cost effective, the UV lights?
So it is cost effective depending on who you buy them from. They can be incredibly expensive, but to be honest with you, we sell them anywhere from $250 to $350, and you can get really, really fancy ones that
Do you just
provide
need one?
ozone.
One or two?
I mean,
What is it?
one or two above and below the coils is ideal because coils typically have, the room air side, and then on top of the coils would be the cool air. So ideally, one below the coils, one above the coils would be ideal.
Great. Can you explain the benefits of using a charcoal filter system?
So
Heard of
charcoal,
those.
and there are some great systems out there. RGF makes one, which is actually up in Jupiter, and we use it in mold as well. Charcoal will help remove smells, and so
That could be handy.
yeah. And the nice thing about charcoal filters, typically you're not going to put it where your filter is. It's going to be inside some kind of a device. But the nice thing about those is it's not something you change monthly. They last.
They last a long time?
Yeah.
Remind folks your contact information again.
So we're EnviroTechAir.com. That's the best place. Go to our website. We can give you a 10% discount if you call us, or 561-686-8925.
And if you have a question for Thane while we're on air, the phone number to call in is 1-888-565-1470. We're going to be back after the short commercial break and talking about air leaks, duct leaks, and other ways to remove smells from your home.
At EnviroTech Air Quality Services, their qualified technicians are experts in the air conditioning and heating field. They make sure to stay up to date with the latest technology and methods so that they can provide their Palm Beach area customers with superior HVAC services. Their technicians are trained by well-known manufacturers and suppliers in the industry, such as Trane and Johnstone Supply. EnviroTech Air Quality Services serves over 500 residential and commercial customers, many of whom are long-term clients. A large portion of their business comes from customer referrals, and they are the preferred AC vendor to two of the largest polo clubs in the region. They value each and every customer and tailor their services and recommendations to their needs and financial situations. Thane Brunsvold, the president of Envirotech Air Quality Services, oversees each project with his hands-on approach on each job. Ask about their free 12-month residential service contract. Contact Envirotech Air Quality Services today at 561-327-4486.
And we are back with our air quality expert, Envirotech. Thane, we left off. You gave us quite a bit of information about how to find a good filter and UV lighting and some things that folks probably never heard about, air handlers. Now we're going to talk about where these air handlers are located. Can you tell us where we can find them?
Yeah, so typically you're going to find an air handler in any home, either in a closet, in buildings, condo buildings. It could be outside the door in a closet. But for the most part, homes, it's going to be either in a closet, in the home, in the garage, or in the attic.
And are they big, small? What are we looking for?
So, I mean, typical air handler is about 4 feet tall, 1.5 to 2 feet wide, and about the same deep. So, you know, it's a
4x2?
Yeah, 4x2s. So it's it's about the size of a 10-year-old.
I started to say a skinny child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although they weigh more, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that would I'm thinking of my own closet. I'm like, there's no space for that, so it'd probably be an attic or a garage, like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's like I said, condos and a lot of homes. The best place, in my opinion, is inside the house in a closet. That's the best place because you're not going to have anything around that air handler for the most part that could pollute the air. Yeah. When you start putting your air conditioners in the garage, which your air handlers in the garage, which is very common, people store paint, gas, cleaners, chemicals, stuff like that.
Guilty.
And,
yeah.
I mean, everybody, look, that's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So, and you pull your car in, sometimes people leave their car running. When they're on a texting or whatever, they pull into the garage. So if you have leaks, well, and not if, all air handlers leak.
Okay, that's a normal?
Yeah, because the blower, which is the thing that moves the air on an air handler, more often than not, is going to be on the top. So what happens is the air is getting pulled through the air handler. Mm-hmm. And so that means the filter's on the bottom or somewhere before the air handler. The blower's on the top. So if you have any of the cabinet seams, whatever's around is going to more than likely get sucked in above your filter, and not dirt to an extent, but definitely toxins, definitely smells, definitely gas, definitely anything like that could now get introduced into the home.
Oh, I see.
And so
that it permeates the home.
And so now you're breathing whatever was there, and all air conditioners leak. I mean, there are some air conditioners.
So they're leaking some amount of Freon?
No, when I say leak, I mean air.
Oh, okay.
So, the whole thing about an air conditioner can clean your air, but they're not perfect. So, because you have panels, as techs, we have to come in and we have to take panels off to service them.
Yeah.
So when you put these panels back on, there's seams between the panels, and with the blower on the top, it's pulling very, very hard. And so it will pull in like little small cracks that are going on in your air handler, and it's not getting filtered. Oh. And so that's why if it's in the garage or it's in your attic, what tends to happen is it's going to pull in whatever's in that space where it's located. In your closet in the house.
Like you said, dirty.
Yeah,
Dusty, dirty.
Well, dusty, dirty, and just whatever you're storing in there. It's gonna in a closet in the home. It's less likely just because you're probably not putting gas cans inside your house
and things like that.
Right.
You just might not be a good cleaner. That's a different story.
No comment. Yeah, we've seen a lot.
What can you do to improve the quality in the garage, though, if you do want to improve the air quality? Because, some people work a lot in the garage, man caves.
So there's a lot of things. I mean, I'm not here to really talk up any particular brands, but Trane does make a system where the blower's on the bottom of the air handler. And so what happens there is instead of pulling the air through, it actually blows the air into the home.
So it blows versus pulling. And why is that a benefit?
Well, it's a benefit because if you go to that unit Okay, so if you go to a unit like I'm doing the service call or I'm doing a precision tune-up, you go in there. We're typically always going to, if the blower's on the top, we're going to find like just dust around corners where the air can go in because that's the dirty air. On a unit, and it's pulling, so you could feel like it's pulling on those seams. On a unit where the blower's on the bottom, it blows the air through. So what you'll really feel is air coming out. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, this isn't right. But now, guess what? It's not sucking anything in above the unit where the filter is, because you got your filter, your blower, which is blowing it in. It's not blowing. It's not sucking those contaminants in. It's actually blowing air out. So that's not going to ever come into your home.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's Trane makes those. There's some other brands that have done it, but the Trane has a Hyperion air handler that I like for that reason. It's also made of a composite. It's not metal. It's actually plastic.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is that also a good one for like allergens and people who have allergies? Is that one of the
Absolutely.
best? That's one you would recommend?
But the one negative thing to that is it's going to be a little louder because your blower's on the bottom.
Yeah.
So
you have to put up with that. It's a catch-22.
Well, sound, I mean, they do have some things that will help you with that sound. Some people are like, oh, the sound of the AC makes me go to sleep. Some people are like, oh my God, I can't stand that sound. It just depends on the person.
What your tolerance
That
is.
would be the negative, if anything. But they're great systems.
Yeah. You also work with leaky ducts, right? And helping people who maybe not even realize they have it when you come out with your service plan to kind of just check and see how we're doing with our annual inspection.
So yeah, with the precision tune-ups, our service contract, we're coming out twice a year. The techs are supposed to run the heat. I mean, so often, make sure you blow off the dirt that's on your. We have electric strip, so. That'll blow. Dust accumulates when so often people turn their heat on. They're like, "Oh, what's that smell?" It's something's wrong. It's just the contaminants that have built up on that heat strip. But we'll also pop our head into the attic, check out ductwork. We typically won't really get really into it, but
so all the ducts are always in the attic.
Or between floors, yeah, in the attic or between floors. If you have a 2-story home, you're going to have in the attic or the between floors. But yeah, they're always in the attic. So how do you see
them between floors? Do you have to, what do you do?
You don't.
Oh, okay.
You don't. You can't really, but typically, hopefully, the people that built the house did a good job. But in the attic or single-story homes, if you have a leak, I mean, if it's a bad leak, typically, if you pop your head up there, you're going to feel cold air. Guess what? That's a bad thing. Because your attic should be hot.
Your power bill will be high, right?
Well, that may be one thing you notice, but you may not even know. I mean, when we pop our head up, and my text, believe me, in August or July is not when we want to be climbing.
And it feels great when it's
But we do it. I have to be honest. I carry 2 shirts if I'm
right. Because
I come out,
I'm sure you do.
It's coming down my forehead. But you may feel it. New code requires us to do duct leak tests and. Make sure that it's not leaking when you build it. But we'll look at it. And we have infrared cameras. I mean, if it gets to a point where you really think you have a huge problem, we can bring an infrared camera in, and it'll pinpoint those leaks immediately, really easily, through
Were they
colors.
typically tiny?
Typically, they're going to be tiny because, unfortunately, ductwork is assembled with tape, glue, and mastic, and more often not mastic, tape, and tape gives over time.
Right, with the heat, doesn't that just kind of melt?
Yeah, over time, it's not ideal. Up north, they use metal ductwork. Down here, South Florida, we don't have heating. We have cooling.
Yeah.
And we use duct board and tape and mesh and mastic.
Yeah. So aside from the possibly higher power bill, is the only other way I'm going to catch it is if you come out for an inspection? Is that typically, you said?
Pretty much, I mean, the one good thing about leaky ductwork for the most part, because it's going to be positive pressure. In other words, your air handler's blowing air in. Mm-hmm. Even being in the attic, you're not going to it's not going to suck in what's in the attic because it's blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're going to find in an attic where ductwork's leaking is you're going to feel cold air if I pop up there.
Right.
You're like, odd. Warning sign.
Yeah.
Or, you're going to, it's going to blow. It's not going to suck what's in there.
Yeah.
So it's not really hurting your air quality so much as just you're losing money.
Well, that's good to know. And what else do you do with your service plan? Like, what are the things you guys look for? I guess you look for mold, right? Like you said earlier.
Well, I mean, there are professionals out there that will scare you about mold. Mold is in every air handler.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that we always do, and that's why it's so important to really do a service plan and have someone coming out. We're gonna be the company that really wipes the insulation inside for the mold and dust. We're gonna wipe the wires where it likes to grow on the wires. We're going to, clean off the coils. We're looking at motor amperages and making sure the freon's right, but we're also checking for the air, the contaminants in the air handler. You have
do you
to
have
take
to
care of
measure
that.
the amount of mold? Do you have to do any kind
No,
of
it's
test
just
like
something like if we see something where it's a huge problem, we're going to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to document it first of all, and we're going to say, hey, you need to do something. I mean, we're not out to sell anything. We're out to be your professional, and
Right.
so we're going to document it. If you choose not to do it, that's great, but we're going to make sure that we document it because
Yeah.
we have to make sure that we protect ourselves as well. We're not, again, looking to sell stuff, just protect you. So some people just won't do it. They're skeptical, and they should be. There are a lot of
that? It's South Florida.
vendors out there that will not be honest about it. We are. And so that's something we're going to take care of when we're out there. Another thing that becomes a huge problem in South Florida is drain lines, where the moisture that your air conditioner, your air handler is pulling out should drain out. Those can become clogged, back up. Now you have a leak that you don't know is going on. It's going in, down, leaking down the unit, going
Yeah.
into your walls. You'll find out because, I see something growing on
Yeah.
the bottom of base of a wall. So, blowing out your drain line is hugely important with maintenance on an air conditioner.
Is that what causes you to get those calls at 8:00 on Sunday night that people just their drain lines got clogged and?
Murphy's Law? Yes, yes.
But is that the typical
It
culprit?
is. Well, no. I mean, it's really not. I mean, typically it could be any number. I mean, typically I'm hot, but
Yeah.
I mean, there are safety switches that are installed that will help. If
Okay.
you have a backup, it'll shut the unit off. Now you're hot. We get out there, we realize it's a drain line backed up.
Well, you have just heard from our resident expert here about your air handlers and quality air. So if you have any questions, give Thane a call at.
561-686-8926.
Happy Thursday to everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Call our office at 888-574-6999 to become one of our experts on the show. And tune in again next week for more Ask the Experts with Steve-O. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers.